Hey, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, May 2nd. Now, I know if you've been following me for a while, you have gotten a lot of tips from me as a traveling phlebotomist when you're traveling, right? So I get a lot of these questions in my inbox and on my on my Instagram and on my Facebook pages about what should I charge for my services as a mobile phlebotomist. So I said, why not make a video about that? So let's do it, shall we? Let's go. Hi, everybody, and welcome to my channel. As you see, you're in the presence of my living space in my extended stay. I'm telling y'all, Sinesta Suites is the business. Yes. When you're traveling, you want a full kitchen so you can actually cook your food with a stove and an oven. Because I don't do microwave like that, y'all. I can't. So, yeah, I just had to throw that out there. Okay, so today we are talking about what do I charge for my services as a mobile phlebotomist. Now, before we go on, make sure you guys are liking this video. Make sure you're sharing this video. And please leave me a comment down in the bottom, okay? So everybody else can see what's going on. So they can follow me as well to get these tips and these answers, okay? So, like I stated before, I get a lot of questions in my inbox on Facebook, on Instagram, and sometimes like on Twitter, I get a little few comments here and there, but it's not a lot. But I get enough to ask these questions a lot. So I want to go over and make sure I went over some things with you guys so that we can get some stuff established so you can understand. Okay, now, remember I told you guys, I have been a medical assistant for the past 22 years. Yeah, 22, because my son will be 22. So 22 years, right? So in my journeys, of course, you know, when they first start you out, you don't make the best money. You make okay money. Now you make good money, right? But I made great money. Thank you, Lord. Appreciate you, God. Okay, but so you are going to be starting your own business. So if you're going to be your own mobile phlebotomy company, you got to make sure you dot all your I's and cross all your T's. And that is basically the structuring of your business and what you want to charge for the services that you are putting out there for your clients. So with that being said, let's go over that. The first thing I do is I let the clients know I do not work with insurance companies. Let me tell you why. Number one, they do not always pay on time. Now, I do not know this by personal experience because, like I said, I don't do insurance companies, but I have colleagues that have accepted an insurance before. It's always, first of all, it's a big hassle just to get certified with these insurance companies. I'm going to tell you that right now. So during COVID, I was trying my best to get credentialed with these companies. And the first thing that they told me, oh, we don't credential mobile phlebotomy companies. Why not? We are going out using our own vehicles, using our businesses as our vehicles, and our vehicles, our gas, our insurances. We're running our own companies. So why don't you cover that expense? If a patient cannot get to a lab, if they need these labs done, why are you guys not paying for this service? I'm not understanding that. Okay. And number two, if they do pay, to me, it is an embarrassment. It is like a slap in the face for what they pay. I believe I heard someone say $3. I think Medicare or Medicaid, one of them M people, they only pay you $3, $2 to $3, I think, for the draw fee. I'm not sure what was paid for the actual test because, of course, I don't accept insurance. So I didn't even go deep into that. Once they told me that, I was like, okay, nope, we're not doing that. Vita Phlegm Mobile will not be doing that. So we will not be accepting insurance. So the next step I took was I partnered with a lab that was cash pay. Now, if you all know, naturopathic doctors, they take patients who pay out of pocket. They do not accept insurance. So guess what? If they are seeing their patients that pay out of pocket, then who you should be contracting with? Naturopathic doctors, right? Because although they rarely prescribe medications to their patients, they still do. And but they go the natural route first. So they still need to know the baseline of the patient's labs. They still need to know this information. So they are a great source to start with. So what I would do is I would draw up a contract, the sample contract, and you get one on Google, just a sample contract of what they would pay for the service for you to draw their patients and who would pay for that. Simple, easy peasy, right? So it's all about what are you worth. So that's what we're getting into right now. You are going to charge what you're worth. You are going to factor in what areas you're covering and how long you're going to be driving and how long it takes you to start and finish with one client, right? So map out your route. See how much gas it takes you to fill up your tank to do your routes. And then when you're completed, dropping off at the labs. So within that time frame, you are going to figure out what it is that you should be charging for your time. What are you worth? But of course, you got to be realistic. Okay? I do know some people who charge upwards up to $100 for their concierge service, because that's what you're doing. You're supplying a concierge service to your patients so that they don't have to leave the comforts of their home, or even they don't have to leave work. They can come do their 15-minute break or lunch break or whatever. You draw their blood, get it done, and go. Right? Me, I've had patients that I met in a parking lot. Okay, this lady, she lives so far, but her kid needed to be at the lab within 2 hours. So she lived 4 hours away. So what we did was we came up with a solution where she would meet me more than half of the way so that it gives me time to process her labs and get it to the lab within that 2-hour time frame. So she had no problem meeting me out. She drove the 3 hours. I took care of her. I drew her blood in her car and I drove it to the lab, got it. I processed it in my car with my centrifuge, the ones that need to be processed, made sure they were labeled and ready to go, and got them to the lab within the time frame they needed to be there so they could be tested. So again, what is your time worth? Because she would have had to come that complete 4.5 hours. And then who knows how long she'd have been waiting in the lobby for the lab just to get her labs drawn, to drive 4.5 hours back in traffic. This way, she only took the 3 hours to me, and there was no traffic for her to come through where we met. I did all the traffic driving because I had to go into the city. So she was able to get her labs drawn, and we met in a Walmart parking lot. So guess what she did? She said, I'm just going to go to Walmart anyway. So that works perfectly. So it's all about what you are charging, what you are worth. No one can put a price on the work that you offer, the services that you offer. Only thing that you can put a price on is how much are the labs charging you to draw or to test these lab tests, right? So again, that goes back to my first point of I partnered with a lab. It's called Ota Labs, and I love them. Shout out to Ota Labs, because we have been like best friends. Matter of fact, we're coming up on our year. We have been the best friends for a year. Hey, Ota Labs. So with Ota Labs, you get your own website link. Everything that they need to get done, any lab tests that you can think of are in there. They can go in, pay for their labs, and then with them paying for their labs, they can pay for the draw fee. It all comes in one bill. So one of the great things about Ulta Labs is this. I have a mobile phlebotomy division and I have a patient service center division. So they both have two different draw fees, right? So if the patient always calls, because I have it to whereas no one can schedule for my company but me. They have to call the office so that they can get scheduled. They can't schedule themselves because that'll mess up my scheduling system. So they will have to call and we set out a schedule. Now, if it's a draw that needs to be done as soon as possible, we go over that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But what I also do is I make sure that they know, okay, so these are the labs that you ordered. Now, do you want us to come to you or you want to come to us? That's always the kicker because there's a difference in price for that service. I have no problem having them come into my center. That's fine because that's no gas I have to use just to go to my center. But if I have to come to them, that price is going to be different because they're paying for the convenience, right? So that's why I say you have to charge what you're worth and you have to make sure that it makes sense to you. So you're not going to go to a patient and say, oh, I'll come draw your blood for $15. Yeah, you may work maybe an hour or two, if that, in between driving and drawing the patient and stuff. But are you really going to charge $15 for the draw? Because that's your whole time. So that's not worth it to me. You can be different. That's fine. But you have to look deep inside yourself and pay attention to your business structure to make sure that you are charging what you are worth. You provide an amazing service, right? So you want to make sure that pay is understood with that service that you're providing. It's a concierge service, especially if you're going to them. So if you're going to them, make sure that you are mapping out your areas that you cover and give them, charge accordingly, right? All right, so there are 3 key points I want you to always remember. Always remember when you are thinking about what to charge when it comes to your services. Let's go over those 3 points. Okay, so when you are trying to figure out what it is that you want to charge for your services, these are 3 things I want you to always remember. Write these down first before you get to thinking about numbers, okay? Number 1, in regards to how much you want to charge them, think about it like this. 1, what do you believe that your services are worth? Meaning as you are coming out of your home, the comforts of your home, to drive to someone else's home. You have to pack all of your equipment. You have to make sure you leave it in good timing, especially if you don't know where they are. And even though you may know the area a little bit, but you don't know exactly where they are. You want to make sure you're accounting for the traffic, the time it takes you to get to the patient's home, the time it takes you to draw them, the time it takes you to process, and the time it takes you to get to the lab and probably FedEx drop off or whatever, right? Put all of those in perspective when you are thinking about, okay, what should I charge? What is my services worth? Make sure you pay attention to that because that's important. Okay. Number 1. So number 2, what is your target area? For instance, I live in Arizona, right? So I cover the entire state because I have patients who live in rural areas, who live on reservations. And yes, they are not 10, 15 minutes from where I start. Either I start from my office or I start from my home. They're still not 10 to 15 minutes. So I map out where they are and I charge accordingly to my mileage. Because if you have a patient that's 2 hours from your start point, whether it be in your home or at your office, remember, you got to drive to and from that patient. So map out your target areas and the areas that you want to cover so you can make sure that it makes sense. If you do not want to go 20 miles away from your home, then guess what? You don't have to. You don't have to. These are the areas that you are to cover. And if someone wants you to come outside of the area that you cover, charge accordingly. Remember, you're using your vehicle, your gas, bringing all of your supplies, and offering a concierge service. So remember, think about what is your target area. Okay, and tip number three. How is your business structured? Now, I brought this in because I needed to make sure I added in this point because some people, they don't really pay attention to this. So my business is structured as a mobile phlebotomy business. That was the first thing I wanted to do. I wanted to be a mobile phlebotomist because I've been a traveling phlebotomist for 15 years or 16 years, remember? So I wanted to look at, okay, so now that I've been traveling all this time, I want to be a mobile phlebotomy company, a mobile healthcare company. I call it mobile healthcare because sometimes I do paramedical exams as well. It's not just phlebotomy, so mobile healthcare. Now, I added into as a patient service center a year and a half after I was a mobile phlebotomy company. And let me tell you why. Being a mobile phlebotomy company, it opened a lot of doors, but then it closed some as well. So that was where I told you I was frustrated about trying to get into, contracting with the insurances. That was the most frustrating part of being a mobile healthcare company because they give me so many problems. Oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. So that's where I restructured my business. I still have the mobile phlebotomy, mobile healthcare unit, but I also have a patient service center unit, which as in they can come to my location to get their labs drawn. They can do their paramedical exams there. They can do their COVID screenings, their drug screenings. So I want to make sure I have it structured to whereas I have a mobile division and I have a patient service center. So I offer those two options to my clients so that I can be available to my clients. So those are 3 points I wanted to make sure that I gave to you because it is very important on how your business is structured to make sure you are doing the most for your company, what you are wanting to do. As a business owner, you want to make sure that you are doing the parameters that you want to offer. No one can bully you into offering something that you do not offer, right? As long as you put that out there and let them know. I do not cover this area. If I have to come outside this area for any reason, I will have to charge accordingly. I mean, it's being honest. It is being completely honest. And one thing I always believe is that people will pay for what they want. Remember that. If it's something that someone's they really want your concierge service to come to their home so they don't have to leave their home, they will pay for that because it's a convenience to them. The main thing is thinking about the convenience of what you're doing. You are doing all the work. They're at home sitting waiting for you. They're going to put their arm out. That's it. The most they got to do is get up and come open the door for you and close the door behind you. You're offering that comfort to them, right? So remember that. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you like, you share, and leave a comment at the bottom, all right? Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope I was able to answer some of your questions and, of course, lead you in the right direction of what is it that I charge? Okay? Peace and blessings to you. I am Willa Tubbs. Have a marvelous rest of your day.